Good morning. We are live. Not necessarily alive, but we're live. Good day, MSA. How are you? Excuse me. Yo, what's up, Joe? Oof. Yeah, we're hitting this thing up with Surfacer. I'm not even gonna bother with waiting to wait till primer. This will get hit with Surfacer today. Busy morning? I don't know. What time is it? Looks like I got out of bed about 45 minutes ago. I would say busy. Made the coffee. Got the cats fed, watered, cleaned the litter box. Watched the last few minutes of the penultimate stage of the Vuelta on top of the Bola del Mundo. That was insane. I will repeat what I've said many times over the years. There is no greater sport out there than cycling. Hey, Edwin, good evening. We are working on the same model. We are working on the machining Krieger kit. I'll be working on this probably for the next couple of months, would be my guess. Oh, how's the family doing, Edwin? How are you doing? And how are the you last, let me see, the last thing you were doing was you just got yourself three new 3D printers, is that correct? What was the longest has a model taken from you? 16 months. If we're talking about actual finish, not including taking a break from a model, 16 months. Such a good day yesterday. Yes, 16 months for one model. It must be perfectly made. I would say it's my magnum opus. It is the best model I've ever made. Is it perfect? No model's perfect. No such thing as perfection. I like it did get some good kudos, and it will actually be coming out I'm going to be, I believe, bringing it with me to a couple shows. First time in a couple years, so it'll be nice to see it come do that again. We are resting. Guests are coming. Guests, yeah. We'll buy FDM and you were going to buy. You haven't bought them yet at the store. We'll check if they still have resin printer in stock. Got it. Guests coming. Yeah. Passings do tend to bring many people out, which is always a good thing, in my opinion. You know, the comfort of a passing, I guess. Oh, man. But I am tired. It was a long day. It was a good day. Went up to Maine. My wife and I made a last minute decision on Friday. It's like, hey, why don't we meet up in Maine? By the way, I've never asked you before, but how old are you? Ancient. Ancient. My wife and I hung out. We met halfway. We met in the Ogunquit Wells area of Maine. About a 2-hour drive for each of us. Kind of a last minute plan to do so. Went out for lunch. That was kind of entertaining. And then just kind of hung out. Monday morning. Good. Jesus. Sorry. I'm a little tired this morning. I don't know why. Good morning, everyone. Tony, how are you? How you feeling, brother? I was born in the 60s. 1960s. So we had lunch at a restaurant that my parents would have enjoyed. As my wife said, this is a place your parents would have loved. You know, with that very traditional New England style food, baked haddock, which is what I had, which had a very traditional type of taste to it. I'm doing okay this morning. Thanks for asking. Yeah, of course, man. How's the hand? Oh. So we both were like, the food was good. It wasn't great. It was good, but it was it was kind of like comfort food. Now, for those of us who grew up in New England, my wife did not, but she spent an awful lot of time with my parents when we were dating and first married. That would have been a place, she said, this is a place your parents would have loved. And it's like, absolutely. George is so old. The school system had presidential fitness tests, cursive, and analog clocks. Joe, yes, and yes. It's been pretty good. No swelling. The thing still has some pain where they sewed me back. Oh my God. So, Tony, is it me or that? I mean, it sounds like you had surgery. This wasn't let's just keep an eye on things. You had surgery, huh? Shit. If you were to spend one more day with a parent of yours, which one would you choose? Not going to play that game. That game I won't play. That game I won't play. I don't, there. that's kind of like, and I know sometimes, there's always the competition style question, and this is kind of maybe why I'm not into competitions per se. It's when I hear something like that, it's like saying, like, what is your favorite, which one's your favorite child? You can't do that. No, that's just like an impossibility. Say good morning, Joe. Hello, Edwin, Tony. They cut my hand open to clean the infection out. No shit. Wow. God damn, kilogram. Tony, you don't have to answer, but let me. It's obviously you guys know the game. Any questions that are you deem are too personal, you do not answer. Tony, was it septic? That's pretty wild. Yeah, which one? Like I said, that's that kind of question. MSA is kind of a very odd one, because one I don't know that you can have. It's like, which is your favorite parent? Which is your favorite child? I think I need to do something with this. Excuse me a second. Okay. Oh, good. Didn't touch anything. It's ever being so odd. No, there are just there's some questions are just a little like those kinds of questions are very odd. Look, it's it's kind of like you had a personal relationship. I might have had a personal relationship, a stronger relationship with one parent over another. And it might also be that my memories are a little bit more positive about one over the other. But I don't think that would be the thing, because I think both of my parents were very important in my life. And I'd love to have a conversation with either one right now. When you have something that is completely lost, or two things treated as things, two things that are completely lost, two things that you had a lot of passion for, and they're both gone, which one would you prefer? I'd like to have them both. Yeah, I went to the hand doctor and he admitted me on the spot, then made the room in his schedule for surgery. Holy shit. Wow, Tony. Jesus. Favorite line from movie book, and Lancelot talking about his bastard kids. I like number 2. He's a fighter. They didn't say septic, but it was cellulitis and was not going away. Wow. Shit. Well, Tony, I'm very happy that was taken care of. Oof. Goddamn. Hey, Jonah. Excuse me. Good morning. What's going on, brother? All right, we're going to put this stuff away. I'm sure we're going to come back to the surfacer. Oh, man. Excuse me. Gunpla is cooking good today. No, is it now? I guess he is. I was pretty mad at the ER doctor who dismissed it. He did, and since my doctor is part owner of that hospital, I'm sure heads rolled. Bless you. Thank you very much, Tony. Bless you. Thank you, MSA. Not too much. Just grabbed some breakfast and working on a model. Perfect. Sounds like an excellent start to the day. So, Tony, interesting thing. My daughter, my older daughter, recently broke her arm doing derby. She wasn't sure if it was broken. She went to the one of the minute clinics that we have here, and they're like, it looks like it's broken. You need to have an MRI. Called around, nobody. It's like went to emergency to get the MRI because they had X-rays. So she went to emergency. We spent 3-4 hours there. Doctor looks at it and says, "Okay, have another X-ray." So she had an X-ray done. Doctor's like, "Yeah, it looks like it's broken. You need to go see a specialist." Goes to see a specialist, and the specialist's like, "Where's the MRI?" Sent her back to go get another MRI. The reason I'm bringing, and then she had one at the emergency room. And the thing about it was, it's like, we're getting charged for 2 emergency visits. So I now have to have a conversation with the emergency room and be like, I'm not paying one of these 2 bills. This is what you were supposed to do. You didn't do it. The second doctor said, this is what you're supposed to do, and you hadn't done it. Now we had to go back and see you. So which one of these 2 am I not paying for? Austin, Austin, what's going on, brother? Good morning. What's your favorite dish? Yeah. All right, let's see. What was your favorite dish? The one that's best served cold. Ouch. Broken bones are never fun. No, neither is hand surgery like the one you just described, Tony. What's going on, Austin? Good morning. Nice to see you in the live today. Yeah, but I've been saying the same thing. Like, okay, who wants it, or are you splitting the bill? Yeah, well, that is what's going to happen, because if here's the thing. I understand that I'm not an idiot about misdiagnoses. I understand that. Look, the human body is a pretty intense thing, but especially in our situation where we were told that you need to kind of have like you needed to have something looked at in a certain way, and they decide, yeah, we're gonna do things our way. That's a mistake. And Tony, in fact, with you, what's interesting is that yeah, I'm kind of starting to wonder if emergency rooms aren't becoming sort of just take a couple of aspirin, call me in the morning, and let me know how it goes. It's like, okay, not good solutions. Lobster? No, I'm not a lobster fan. Lobster bisque, yes, but not lobster. Morning, not too much. Nice. Are you working on a model, or are you at the bench, or are you just kind of kicking back, Austin? By the way, Trash Bag Scale Models is Austin. He is one of my locals, a fine member and good pal. Fine member of Patriot and a good pal. My doctor was mad because the ear doctor didn't even call the resident hand specialist who was on duty, which would have. Oh, yeah, that's definitely going to be a chop. Oof. Sushi? I do like sushi. I don't trust anybody who doesn't like sushi. This will be interesting to see who responds to that. I still remember the first time I had sushi. At the time, it was still considered a weirdo food that was being kind of brought into it was kind of like being popularized in places like California. Now it's just such a staple. But sushi is just raw fish, though. Yeah. I'm at the bench in a while, unmotivated, but I've got a few in progress. I totally understand that. Maybe I can motivate you a little bit, Austin. You ready? I got a few words of wisdom. Let me know when you're ready. All I'm doing is just sanding this thing. I mean, this model is like the amount of cleanup on this model. Oof. It is shocking. Shocking and because of modern standards, that's all. But then again, maybe modern standards aren't as modern as I thought. Who knows? We shall take Gramps' advice to the fullest. I'm going to try to be vegetarian again. We got to come up with better healthy meals. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that my older daughter and I are into. Like, we're doing a lot more. First of all, I don't eat red meat, but we do a lot more like vegetarian dishes here now because she's a vegetarian. And with my wife not being here and my younger daughter in college, it's just the two of us. It's a lot easier. You vegans. Oh, come on. Ooh, vegetarians. Oh, yeah. I love good vegan cuisine. Nick, what's going on, brother? You back? What did you bring back to put in the freezer? You. I find it fascinating when people just do that. They're like, ew, that's disgusting. It's like, have you had it? I've had some. There's a lot out there. Meat is good. Yes, I'm back, unfortunately. Nice. What are you, a cow? No, I don't eat cow. No moo for me. Just found out that octopus have communities and a social structure and use tools. So, ooh. Lots of red drum and spotted sea trout. Nice. The cow is so delicious. I'm not saying it's not. I'm looking forward to the day that an alien lands down here and starts eating us and just, yeah, I know that you're sentient beings, but you're so delicious. What the fuck? Cow is literally steak, beef. Yes, it is, but pass. Yeah. It's actually almost 10 years ago to the day that I quit eating red meat and pork. That's a mistake. Yeah, exactly. I wonder how it tastes like. I don't know. Let's hope we never have the opportunity to find out. All right, Austin, let me know when you're ready, and I'm going to give you my words of wisdom. Shoot. Okay. So when you're sure you don't want to get to the bench or you're just kind of like not motivated or whatever, just remember these words. Shut the fuck up. Get your ass down at the bench. Pull out a model. Start working on it. I don't want to hear excuses. Sorry. I couldn't resist. That'll do it. God, I hope not. Soylent Green is people. I love it. Reminds me of the Twilight Zone episode, How to Serve Man. Yeah, exactly. I gotta watch I gotta watch Twilight Zone again. God, I love that series. That'll do it. God, I hope not, Austin. Nah, dude, I get it. I mean, I think we all, it's interesting when you do decide, it's like, what, I'm not motivated, right? Whatever, right? It's, when you think about this hobby, it does have a tendency to become such a, like a life experience, right? It becomes so much like a part of you, especially when there's a social component to it, that when you decide it's like, I need to step away, or I'm not feeling the whatever, is that a bad thing? And the answer is no, absolutely not. Speaking of, it's because the Vuelta's wrapping up. I was listening earlier. There was a young cyclist who had done extremely well for himself and had just gotten into I'm not sure if it was a world team, but he was on a pro team and was on the rise. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just not feeling it anymore. I think there was a friend, or he experienced, it was a crash or something like that. He's like, you know what? I'm kind of done. And right at the beginning of the pinnacle of his career, he just said, yeah, I'm kind of done. You kind of, there's nothing wrong with, I mean, that's a bit of an extreme case, but there's nothing wrong with just saying, I need to step away. Now, he might step away and just say, okay, I've stepped away long enough and I'm coming back. And if not, that's fine too. But stepping away is not a bad thing. Last year when we went through some very difficult personal times, I definitely did that. In some ways, I still haven't fully recovered from it. I'm not doing a lot of the crazy shit I used to do. Some fava beans. I love fava beans. Is motivation just a delusion? Is motivation just a delusion? I don't know about that. I don't think so. And this hobby has a tendency, at least, and Austin, correct me if I'm wrong on this. From our perspective, I know because Austin, like I said, is one of my locals. I look at and what we're doing with PatCon and what we do with our Friday night meetings, and then what we do outside of all of that. This has become as much of a social circle as it has something specific, like you have to build a model. Goodness, though, maybe not completely, but kind of, maybe. It may very well be. And those are equally good reasons to do something. There we go. Push this way. Get that over there. Let's clean the brush. Who motivates you, though? Who motivates me to do this? I motivate myself. If you're talking about specifically to do scale modeling, it's always been me. I see the success that I've other great models, and they inspire me. But in terms of who motivates me, that's me. I'm always putting in myself when I don't have anything to show at the meeting. Oh, by then I don't have motivation to do anything. So it's a self-perpetuating cycle. But yeah, well, that's too bad. But here's the thing, one of our oldest members, and Austin, I'm saying this to you as much as to anybody else. One of our oldest members in the club, a guy by the name of Alan. He is he's been with the club since for over 20 years. And when we do our roundtables and everybody introduces themselves, especially when we have new members or new guests, he always says, he goes, I build a little of everything and I finish nothing. So does that mean that we don't have respect for him, that we don't want him as part of our group? And the answer is absolutely not. He builds models when he can. He finishes them at his pace. This is not a and for him, I think it's as much a obviously the motivation of the model building is good, but I think it's also, this is a social circle. It's kind of like what we're doing here. You know, I could just as easily, I mean, I think the crowd might change, but I could just as easily be doing a book reading. I could be just as easily working on woodworking. We could make this into a discussion of cycling. We could make this a movie review session. It could be anything. It just happens to be that it's models. It's been a minute since I snapped just one. The band talks so many good songs. Yeah, but I am printing the raffle box right now, so at least I'm getting something done down here in the shop. Yeah, and isn't that part of the general circle of what we do? I mean, if you want to talk about, I'm doing something creative. I'm being, and by the way, Austin has been really getting into 3D printing and has been making these absolutely amazing 3D printed toolboxes. George, I believe it's been all those things. I think it has been, Joe. I think you're right. So I think it has been. All right, let's move on to some sanding. Nick's here, right? Yeah, so we can get to some sanding. So I moved the laptop down a level on a shelf. Is this helpful? Because I think what it does is it puts me a little bit more where you can see a lot more of the work that I'm doing. It's probably trimming more at the top of my head, but I don't think anybody cares, because then the shine goes away and then I don't have you people bitching at me. Turns into all those things from time to time. Yes, it does. And isn't that what it's all about? Look, I don't know. I've known people in the past, and even a couple now, who, when you have a conversation with them, you're into a hobby, whatever that hobby is. And every time you see them, it's always a conversation about that hobby. I'm going to ask people, I know for my own sake, those are not the people I build the strongest relationships with. Generally, the people I build the strongest relationships with are like when Austin needed a drive up. We were having conversations about family. When we spend time doing, because Austin's one of the guys that we also hang out with when we do our pre-Patriot dinner meeting, and we talk models, but we go into all sorts of shit. Kids, life, try not to talk about work, but we talk about all that stuff. If you're not talking about those things and it's always about hobby, it's like it's a one-trick pony and it gets boring really fucking fast. Is that why the shine is down? I used to like you, Nick. Has anybody noticed that, by the way, that the fans thing is gone? The woodworking is just such, unless it was to talk about your deck. Yes. That's right. You used wood for the base of some kits. I did, including routing one. Oof. Thought it was marble. Oh, I've used MDF bases quite often. Generally, meeting day is the best day of my month. Well, I hope it's not the best day of your month. But yeah, I agree with you. Every time we meet, I'm sure, I think it's almost become a bit of a cliche, but every time we meet, it's always like, I start the meeting with a thank God it's Friday. I'm glad to be here and I'm glad to be seeing everybody and I'm glad to be hanging out. And I genuinely believe that, But if all we talked about were models, it'd get boring really fast, That's not to say we don't talk about models. It's just that that's not the core, the core and only subject. And then he made an asphalt base for with sandpaper. Yeah, that's the Spartan. The Spartan had one, and the Glouge both had MDF bases. Anything else? I guess in technicality, so did the Der Roten Kommeten. That one did too. It's actually a completely framed piece of wood. So, yeah. So, guys, let me know. Am I off base? You know, why are we doing this? Because again, why are I'm seeing count of four. I don't know how many people are really here, but let's just say it's four people. Why are you all here? Because if it's to learn about models or only discuss models, you're wasting your time. Just saying. And some of y'all have been here for many, many years. To which I'm grateful, because I think we've developed good relationships, good friendships. Nick, I'm sanding, by the way. For like 4 years, maybe you have used more wood bases. Yeah. Maybe one of these days when I decide, and I know we've talked about it, maybe moving out of here and doing something else, like doing like a little bit of a backlog deep dive. Maybe we can do some of that, like doing like a little bit of a backlog deep dive. Maybe we can do some of that. I can show you some of the models that have been completed. I can show you kind of all the models that have been completed. Ooh, I'm here for the morning coffee and convos. Yeah, exactly. The thing is that and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, what we share here is we have a common interest in scale models, but that's not what we talk about that, but that's not all we talk about. Think about the 20 years, there will be all this lore about an old man who lives in a basement, who makes toys and spreads cheer, who has a Greek accent. Oh, I don't have a Greek accent. I wish I had a Greek accent. Also, you are all like my old ass at 6 a.m. Nice. So I'm just here because you need something at 6 a.m. It could have been anything, but here you are. Yeah, the camera is lower so I can see now. Nice. Oh, I'm happy for you. See, these are the things that I do for you, Nick. The things that I want to make. I want to make your life better, Nick. It's about you. Hey, good morning, Seb. How are you, my friend? Damien, welcome back. How are you? 5 a.m. here for me. Yeah. Nick's a total psychotic. 6 a.m. You're up. You like old school models. Yeah. Put that to Lord. That's right. What? How does that phrase go? If if it's choice between fact or fiction, print the fiction. Laura's full of misinformation. You have a Greek accent. That's right. Next thing you know, I'll become a gunslinger. Here it's already 12:52. Yeah. I'm hoping it's PM. Because you're almost at 1 p.m. or 13 hour, correct, Seb? Good. Right, good. And you, George? I'm doing all right. I had a lovely day yesterday. hung out with my wife. We went. We met up in Maine at a beach right at the ocean. Had lunch there. Walked the ocean a little bit. Did a little bit of shopping, and just generally just hung out. Got some ice cream together. Just it was a lovely time. It's kind of what I hope for will happen between us when we both get to retirement stage. Just, you know what? Just enjoy going out and doing things together. That's my EST, so kind of the same. 5 a.m. 5 a.m. I managed to forget to see more Gundam Robot. 6:54. Damien, is that 6:54 morning or evening for you? I'm assuming it's morning. I was confounded. AM, PM stop. Yeah, I know. I got to tell you, you're right. You know, Europeans have it right. What time is it? It's 13 hours. Yeah. But I figured that's what's going on. Geek's an old school robot. It's in the basement in Massachusetts to make toys and spread individuals in the early morning, even. Yeah. Okay. So looking forward to retirement. So we're sanding the surfacer that I put down here yesterday on this Mach K kit just to try to get some of that internal lining cleaned up. Gap filling. I mean, I'm not going to get all of it. And frankly, most of that's going to get hidden, so I'm not as concerned. And it's certainly better than it was before, given how much I just pulled back on all that material. I use the 24-hour clock. Oh, do you, Nick? I go to Truman High School now. Really? Damien. No, I'm not going to ask the question. Good for you. So you're in high school now. Did you just become a high school student? It's crazy how many people don't understand the 24-hour clock. Oh, it's tough. Remember, it's what you grow up with, right? You know, as an example, you know, I watch cycling all the time, and they're talking about racing kilometers and meters and all that stuff. Or when we do model work, you know, I God, the empirical system doing model work is, I don't get it. It's the stupidest way of measuring stuff. You know, metric is the way to go. But when dealing with larger numbers, it's like, okay, so how does that translate? Celsius and Fahrenheit? Oh, I can't get that shit right. Yep. Well, congratulations. Welcome to high school. How's high school going for you so far? It's got to be your first couple of weeks, right? Okay. Yeah. Good and tired. Yeah. Well, that's supposed to be that way. No, I don't like 164th. I couldn't even 164th. I what is 164th versus like 3/8, you know? It's like, sorry. Yes, I know that they're very similar. But anything that isn't, 10 based, it's just stupid. Anything that isn't 10 base is dumb as shit, especially when you're dealing with scale modeling. I keep reading like another one of the little differences between, I think, older modelers and newer modelers. I keep reading all of the IPMS journal articles, and they're talking about, and I use 0.010, evergreen. I'm like, how thick is that? I have no idea. First of all, if you got to do 0.010 and then try to translate that into 1/64th, what the fuck? It just doesn't make sense. Zero. Sorry, Damien. Hi, Spanish algebra, Jim. Yeah, those are good courses. What's going on, Mason? Good morning. Mason and I are going to be virtually hanging out later this evening. I am very interested in hearing about what's some interesting stuff. I thought you were in Maine. Only for the day. My wife and I met up in Algonquin. Spent some time in Algonquin up in Wells and then came back down. What we decided is because it's hard for her to come down here when she's kind of like burned out, feeling like she's lonely and all that stuff, which I totally get. Her entire life has been uprooted and she's planted solo up there. It's a long drive for her and it's a long drive for me. So why don't we meet halfway in between? And that's usually the Maine coast. So it's perfect. Had a lovely time yesterday. Lovely time. I prefer measuring in 1/128th for the tiny stuff. Well, you know what? Have at it. Better you than me. I'd rather get with the new kids. There's a killer bed and breakfast we need to talk about. Okay. I hate the most is algebra, the math. Do you have it's like 9 plus 2? I love that kind of stuff. Oh, see, that stuff I do that all the time. I calculate costs on certain things. I'm kidding. Our measurement system is horrible. Okay, that's fine, Nick. I'm like, he's got to be kidding. We can talk. That's funny. Mason, when we were up in driving up and down Route 1, which is a coastal route coastal route in Maine. And we're driving by and we're like, I think we stayed at that hotel and we stayed at that hotel and we stayed at that hotel. And she's like, we stayed at like 8 different hotels while we've been up here. It's like, yeah, why did we do that? Because the ones we usually wanted to book were either, at a time that we wanted, were either sold out or they had a price spike. So we found a different place. And we always had to stay at a place that had a pool because our kids wanted a pool. But we can talk. measurement system is horrible. Yeah, it is absolutely that. I will say it was kind of weird. During our drive through there, we saw one Canadian license plate. Now, granted, we're kind of past the season, but still. It's like giving me too much knowledge. Too much knowledge! And you did listen to the episode of OTV. All right. So let's talk. Yes, I did on the drive up. I indeed listened to it. So Mason and Spencer were on the Bench podcast talking about PatCon. That wasn't, and I'm going to be publishing on that today. Today is going to be the sort of the advertising side of trying to get people to come. The marketing side, I guess, with Hank Gilbert showing up at the show, and that PatCon was featured on the bench. Listen, no spoilers. Well, let me tell you all about it then. Spoilers. I've said this to Mason before, and I will reiterate it. Mason is quickly becoming like our communications director. Like, you send him out there, and just I'm going to use the terminology that I learned when I was a tweeter: feature, advantage, benefit, fab. And Mason has a terrific way of being able to explain, sell the sizzle, not just the steak. Another sales term. Did a great job with doing that. Oof, this is interesting. I guess okay, that kind of sucks. Oh well. Let's see what we can get done in here. But it is a very good episode. Do you have fun doing it? That's the important thing. When you were a tweaker? At Twitter, etc. Right. Stepping away from the putty or the surfacer. Now I'm just going to clean this little piece of plastic that I dropped in here yesterday. Tweaker. Yeah, we both had a blast. Yeah. I love that sort of thing. And it comes across. So, congratulations. It looks like you've taken on a new duty. That is a good podcast too. So I'm not sure if anybody listens to the more traditional podcast, but that's one of the better ones. On the Bench. I think it's like the granddaddy of scale modeling podcasts. They're like 230 episodes in. They do it every second week. And what I've always appreciated about them is they're traditional scale modelers, but they also are like, we whatever it takes to get this hobby to grow, right? Do different things. Like the episode that Mason mentioned to me recently was the why don't scale modelers build models in flight? And by the way, IPMS Nationals does have a category specific to models in flight. But why is it that the initial process is that a plane's got to go be on the ground? It's like planes are meant to fly. Fucking fly them. Damn, Mason got promoted. Oh yeah, dude. I have no problem. By the way, that's kind of George as a CEO of Patriot. We've been talking a little bit about this. It's one of the things I've been trying to do. It's great idea. Run with it. Whoa. No, if you come up with the idea, you run with it. And Mason, of course, has been grabbing the bull by the horn, so it's been good. People that haven't listened to them really should. It's focused on modeling, no specific genre. Yeah, it's a good show. I'm going to leave now. Bye, Damien. Have a great rest of your Sunday, my friend. Wait till you get the calculus. That keeps happening. Gundam and airplanes in the same category. No, planes in flight only. But the issue has been that, again, traditional model building, right? I can't show a propeller driven plane flying, because if you have it flying and its propellers are not spinning, it doesn't look real. So instead, we're going to sell you all this aftermarket landing gear shit and open cockpits and all this stuff, and you can put it right on a flat surface. And then when you actually build a model and put it onto a stand so it looks like it's flying, because I don't know, maybe this is how I grew up, airplanes are meant to fly. That's looked upon oddly by scale modelers. I love that episode about planes in flight. I've never made a plane kit, but I love the discussion. Yeah. That's, it's funny. I look at all the planes that I've made and all of them are in flight. I've now built 3 planes and they're all in flight. Because planes fly. I sent you a motor and you broke it. You could have been flying with motion. But I think I did an excellent job of having a problem, resolving the problem in a way that executed very well. Nick, do you have a problem with that? Why are you hating on me, man? Why are you hating on me? Those labs would be in flight, of course. No, Gio, they're not great now. I know. No, I'm really happy with it. And again, yeah, would I wish that the propellers were spinning? Of course. They're not spinning. Get to figure it out. But I'd rather still have it look like it's flying than put it on the fucking ground. Planes aren't meant to be on the ground. And thank you. I appreciate it, Nick, by the way. Military planes spend more time on the ground than in the air. But why then the interest? Then why don't you build? I mean, tanks spend more time on the ground, theoretically. Why don't you build a tank? A parked X-Wing just doesn't do it for me. Yeah, 100%. Time to eat. Be right back. Sounds good, Seb. We'll be here. What time is it? Oh, yeah, I'll be here I'm going to be here till 8 p.m. local time, would be my guess. Yeah. And I Mason, I'm sorry. Austin, you're 100% right. They do spend more time on the ground, but what makes them exciting is when they're in flight. And maybe that's part of it. When you think about, and I'm not saying that my view of scale modeling should be the view for everybody. Everybody should have their own view. So maybe we can do a little bit of a roundtable. I'd like to hear from everybody who's on, who builds scale models. What is it about scale modeling when you see a model that gets you kind of going? And I will start by saying, for me, it is always the story. You could build a perfectly made model, and I would rather still see a model that tells me a story rather than seeing, oh, look at how detailed that part is. It's kind of boring though. 8 p.m. A marathon episode today. A marathon episode? Oh, 8 a.m. No, did I say p.m.? Oh, Jesus Christ. No, 8 a.m. No, that's that kind. If I ever do decide to do a 24-hour episode or a long episode, it'll probably be for a cause. Like, we'll probably do like a telethon type of thing. No, just sorry. If I said 8 p.m., I misunderestimated my speech. So yeah, I'd love to hear from other people. I like models that tell me a story. You know, a model sitting on a with no base. I don't care what the genre, boring. A Gundam that's just posed on one of those idiotic fucking Bandai stands, boring. A tank in a desert scene surrounded by 15 other tanks in desert scenes, boring. Tell me a story, you know? So I want to see it in use. I post mecha as they were in use. I've never built one like a soldier at attention. That's boring to me. I don't necessarily agree. Take the American Heritage Museum. I find the planes far more exciting when I can walk right up to them and see everything right up close here. Yeah. I like models in motion, to be honest. Yes, I like models in motion too. And again, Austin, just to be on clear, everybody's got their take. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying for me, they're boring because then it comes down to let me look at how detailed your work can be. Okay, I'm going to use a classic example, and maybe this one resonates. I need to tell a story, different color legs, and why it has holes in its shoulders. Yes, I love seeing custom work done, not a bunch of resin add-ons built. I agree, and I'm going to take Nick's point for a second, and then I'm going to use my example. I think when we see a beautifully finished on the ground F-16, 1/32 scale that had all of this aftermarket stuff put in, and you look at the detail and the exquisite finish work, it's like, that's awesome. You put together a puzzle in a very, very beautiful way, and you should be commended for that. It's still boring to me. Okay. Oh, look, it's got seatbelts. Oh, look at the detail in there. That's great. I get it. This is an animosity, just different. Absolutely, absolutely. And this is why the other. I'll use another example. Then we'll get into the example I wanted to use because Mason brought up Star Wars. The other one is when we were up at NEMEC a few years back. I can tell you, I looked at a lot of great models. The ones that stood out for me, Peter's models, because Peter Foti is an amazing scratch builder, and I'm seeing something that he built by hand, and I wanted to look more into it. He did a little diorama that I thought was fabulous. I don't know why I beat it because his model and his finish work were much better. And then the other one was, and she got a silver level, not even a gold level, because they were doing bronze, silver, gold. She got silver level, but Kawaii Builds did a Kshatriya on a book, painted in pink, and it's like there's a story here. And what she did with that storytelling, the finish work wasn't fabulous, but it was really good. And I came to her at the end and said, "Your model was my favorite model on display." And I've told people that on a number of even people who, I told this to a Gundam builder at ValleyCon this year. Your model might not have been the best finished model. It was in my opinion, it was the best thing on this table because I loved your storytelling. Thank you. I agree for real planes. It's easier to appreciate a real plane on the ground, but for me, mock of a plane should show me the use and the excitement. Peter has more talent than I could ever dream to possess. And I would say that that's probably not true. I think that there are certainly people out there who have an amazing amount of skills, and I'm sure that they will execute in a way that, I don't understand Peter, and I'm excited about his seminar, and I'm hoping to get that. Somebody better fucking videotape that seminar. But we need to videotape that. We're going to post that. We got Peter's permission. We're going to post that on our YouTube channel. Patriot will be creating a YouTube channel. And I'm hoping we'll do some kind of regular stuff. I'll be working with Mason and probably Pip to try to figure out what we can do to get that kind of going. Yeah, her model was awesome. I spoke to her about the Kashatra. I didn't get a chance. She was leaving. But as she was leaving, I said, I just wanted to tell you how much I loved your model. And I really wish she would come to shows. I know she's like, I'm done. I did my show. I'm all set. I really wish she would come to shows because I think we need more voices like that. And it takes the model out of the realm of competition and more into, tell me about what you're doing here. We don't have to have an either or, it doesn't have to be, it's a competition only. It's like your model isn't good enough. Anyway, so the other example I was going to use, and one that Mason brought up, if we think about the models that were used in Star Wars, right? So they were all kit bashed. And if you stop for a second and looked at the model, or you talk to the people who built those models, they kit bashed all sorts of parts, threw all this stuff on top of a Millennium Falcon, right? In order to make it look like what it came out. Fabulous model. But if you stopped and took a look at the details and you talked to the guys at ILM about that model, it's like, oh God, those things were built like shit. It didn't matter because they were telling a story. Now, granted, it's a movie, but they're still telling a story. So it's not about the purely about the fit and finish. It's about giving you enough essence to allow for your story to be told. That to me is always more important than, and this is why in some ways it's like, as much as I enjoy doing the Spartan, in some ways I'm pulling back a little bit on that and trying to find better ways of telling a story than to just complete a model. Now, in straight up IPMS rules, I can only speak for IPMS. I can't speak for other competitions like SCGMC or W whatever the fucking Bandai show is. I don't know what their take on it is. Do you include the base or not? But it's always about the fit and finish, which is fine. But tell me a story. Yeah, her model was awesome. Yeah, I'm caught up on messages. Anyway, tell me a story. But I'm actually interested. I didn't hear from anybody about their take. So I'm guessing everybody fell asleep. What do you look for, or what excites you about a model? Thank you, Nick. You at least have an excuse. You're an hour behind us. I dipped out and back in. What was the question? Oh, man. I got to tell you. I'm done with you kids. Get off my lawn. The question was, when you see a model, or when, not just one that you work on, but I certainly try to build, I'm building more in that direction. The evolution of George continues to be trying to tell more stories with the models. What is it when you go to a show or when you're working on a model? What is it that you like? Is it the exquisite fit and finish? Is it the the not necessarily the skill that you put into it, like painting or scratch building or whatever. When you look at a model on a table, the one that calls out to you, which one is that? And for me, it's funny looking at last year, and I didn't get a chance to see nearly as many models at PatCon last year. But again, Peter's models always talk to me, always. And then Kelsey, our not ours. I wish you were a member of our chapter. The figure painter uh, from Vermont. Her work on and it was like a little story, how big was that? Her little mouseling on a turtle. It was probably no bigger than that, right? That little vignette. That thing was fabulous. I could have just spent an hour looking at that model. From the few shows I've been to, it's the story. The base and model have a cohesive flow that makes you feel like you know what's going on. Yeah. I think when I really get excited over a kit, it is because it looks and what I will do. Yep. And how I'll display it in the end. I think about things like motion and displayability. Excellent. Thank you. I get excited when I see things that are different, strange, obscure paint schemes executed well. Yes. All good answers. Yeah. There is no right and wrong here. And again, you could have a traditional builder who would say, I like seeing that F16 and that perfect pristine look where you can see all the detail and all the workmanship that was put into it. That could be your deal. There is no right and wrong answer. And when I'm judging, by the way, as a judge, I don't judge on my personal interests. As I've said, we awarded Kawhi Builds, we awarded her a silver because her fit and finish was not there. But on a personal level, I love the storytelling. The details get me and the story. All of the above. Yeah, I definitely like when someone builds a plane and paints a kit way out of the norm, like a pink tune. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm actually starting to think about what I can do to. I'd like to. I'm not sure if it's going to happen this year, but maybe for next year. Meaning, not this coming ValleyCon, but the following ValleyCon. I'm still trying to figure out what I can do to throw something on the table that'll piss off a judge. Okay, I'm going to take it one step further. I will take it one step further. Let's see. Love builds or paints. Yes, I kind of figured that. I love good quality skill work, motion themes. Different things will catch my eye. Yes. I mean, I can like how a fighter jet looks on the ground. As long as they have the display, like the hangar. Enjoy the same kit on a stand in flight. Ground, sorry, no. Yeah, Tony, don't worry about it. I it's funny. We start getting comfortable with reading, whatever mistakes we type in. It's funny how our brain fixes that automatically. As soon as I saw ground, it's like, oh, of course it's ground. Context. I will say, so I've seen quite a few vignettes as well. And like I was saying earlier, it's like you put a tank, you weather it, dust it, put it on a plank on a desert theme base, or even with a little bit of mud. It's like, okay, that's fine. Oh, look, there's another one just like it next to it. Oh, look, there's another one just next to it. Oh, look, it's like when you see 10 of these things, it's like, okay. It's kind of like it's like going to a restaurant. You know, I'm going tonight and I'm going to go to have a steak. And then tomorrow night, I'm going out and having another steak. And then I'm going to have steak for the next 10 nights. I'm going to assume by the 11th night, it's like, get me the fuck away from a steak. Show me something else. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I would think. It's like, enough. Even if it's an excellent, excellent meal, it's like, I need something different. Second eye-catching build for me is still Clint's MG Don, painted black and white. To resemble Eodor, and the skill was awesome, but the uncommon paint scheme drew me in. Yep. Then knowing he was replicating made it all better. Yeah, there was a story behind it. Absolutely. Yeah. Clint crushed it with that. He absolutely crushed it. Excuse me a second, guys. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to get in here and get this border kind of cleaned up as much as possible. I think I got it. I've got 4 of these to do. Yeah, that's looking... Well, we're going to see what happens when I hit it with Surfacer, but right now that looks good. Take a quick break here. Let's drink some coffee. Yeah. You know, it's like when we talk about movies, books, music, scale models, to me, a lot of it really comes down to the same thing. You know, when you go to a museum and you see artwork on a wall, it's like, as an example, I love Sargent. I think he's a fabulous, fabulous painter. But if I only went to a museum and only saw all of Sargent's work, after a while, I get bored. I guess part of it is also the experience. If you do the same thing over, or you see the same things over and over and over again, I know for some people it's a comfort thing. For me, it's like I get bored. That's why I can't watch the same genre of movie. That's why I've kind of moved on from a lot of the Disney Marvel, the Disney Star Wars, all that stuff. It's because I've seen it. You're not showing me anything new and different, you know, with the exception of Andor. It's all kind of boring. I'm back. Welcome back, Seb. You know, so do something different. Okay. Well, you know, I think an example was, you know, in a small way was, if you take a look at a table full of armor, and it's all green, or khaki and olive drab. You got all of that stuff. Okay. And there's the little pink tank that Austin made. And it's like, oh, okay. It caught my eye. Now, is it the best finished thing? Maybe not. But it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, you kind of start asking a question. I'd want to turn to Austin and say, why pink? The gaming miniatures. I could pick and of 100 Space Marines to paint, but I'm choosing the one that's the most dynamic, interesting. The Hero Circle. What's the Hero Circle, Joe? You know. Do something different. One of our members is scratch building. I think it's mostly scratch building, an RC boat. a paddle wheel boat. He's been working on it. Bill's been working on that for how long have I been a member? 5 years. He's been working on it for 5 years with like the windows and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see that project. And in fact, the next time I talk to him, I'm going to ask him, Bill, what's going on with that? That to me is an exciting project because we're seeing something unique. I'm advocating for pink tanks. Yeah. About the 8 steps for a hero and comes back again around for another. Oh, it's the so what you're saying, Joe, is these are the 8 steps for how to write a hero story. Passing time, every model begins to resemble the others. The only change comes with that when you begin to look something unique, something different. Yeah, that's why I loved, and I've done armor judging a few times. I love it. But you start looking at the models, and you have to dissociate from your personal feelings. It's like, because if I look at that table full of armor, it's like, this is boring. But then you start looking at the individual model and start doing the critique of that model. That dissociation with judging is great, because now I'm looking at it more from a critical eye rather than interjecting my personal feeling. Because if I interjected my personal feelings into that, it would be, okay, here's another fucking tank. Oh, there's another fucking tank. Oh, look, another fucking tank. And this is coming from a guy who loves tanks. Even with Gundam, they all look the same. Oh, and 100%. Very few get painted different than the box show. That's a lot of debates into that. Yeah, I said it horrible. No, that's okay, Joe. It was clear. Thank you for clarifying that. When Hero was born, step 2, the villain. Yeah. There are the steps. Yeah. So, Nick, I agree with you. When I judge Gundam, it's the same thing. It's like most of them are painted, and many of them. One thing I do appreciate about Gundam, at least, is people are trying to do like Tom down in I don't know if he's in Rhode Island or if he's in Southern Mass. He paints like he does Formula One colors on his and does a beautiful paint job. I appreciate that. But to your point, it's you look at a Gundam posed in a battle pose, another Gundam next to it posed in a battle pose, and it's the same thing as with armor. The one that I was telling you guys earlier about from ValleyCon, what I liked about it was it should have been more of a vignette, but he put it in Gundam. But he had two Gundams kind of fighting each other. And he built a little background to it, and one was getting speared. That was a story. I'm like, hey, I appreciated that. Hey, that's good. You did something that went beyond what everything else on this table was. A guy by the name of Henry, and I'm spacing out on maybe one of the other guys, the local guys know him. Henry is another local builder, not part of any group that I'm aware of, but he does fabulous little dioramas of like with LEDs and things getting blown up and that kind of thing. That's exciting. Hey, Tom, good morning. That's why I'm looking more and more for custom builds and scratch build when looking for models. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, Seb, I'm hoping, we're blessed. We've got one of the best scratch builders in our club who'll be doing a seminar, and I'm hoping to be able to record that and get that posted on our soon-to-be created YouTube channel. In fact, if I have time later today, I might actually do that. I might create the channel. No, we're talking about the difference of building for yourself and your shelf versus trying to stand out in a crowd. I'll always build for myself. Oh, absolutely. This is, and yeah, I would never say to somebody, you need to change to appease me. If you want to build that 132nd scale F16 with all the little doodads inside I'm not going to tell you not to do that. That's your call. I'm just telling you it's not something that excites me. In the same way that if you're building up a Gundam, like a modern Gundam, not an older one, but a modern Gundam, and you're putting it in a posed stance with like a sword and everything like that, it's like, okay, great. The finished work is fabulous. I love it. Am I going to remember it in the next few days? Maybe not.
Tom, we have a convo on how we have the same issues with Gundam like we have with planes.
Oh, we're just having a general conversation about, you know, the. I guess what I started with was what jazzes me when it comes to scale modeling, and for me, it's always it's less as a judge. I have to look at the model and its construction, but as a person looking at a model or what I like to do, it's for me, it's always about storytelling. Now, that might not be for everybody, and I get it. And I think Mason absolutely makes a perfectly important and valid point that ultimately you build for you. If you like building in a way that somebody else doesn't like me, you should never change your methodology to suit somebody. You should build the way you want to build. But this is sort of the carrot and stick type of thing. I'm going to use Austin again as an example. Austin painted his pink tank. It's like, so he was commented on that pink tank. It's like, well, you have to let us know why that you chose that color. And does that mean you were demoted because of that color? I would rather turn to somebody and just say, this is your base build. This is how it came out. And I would rather turn to you and just say, hey, by the way, I love this about your model. This is great. The storytelling that you chose pink, or, hey, I love your model. I'm not a big fan of pink. I get it, but this model was terrific. Did somebody see the differences between what I'm trying to get at? It's the issue is, I think, at ValleyCon, it may have been that he lost points because of the color, would be my guess. I don't know, since I didn't judge the category and I didn't have a chance to talk to the judge. And the way it was explained to me is ultimately the judges do have the final say. And in the end, it's a fucking competition. Who the fuck cares?
My most asked question is what should I do with this kit? And I just say, you do whatever makes you enjoy the build and do not worry about others think. 100%. That I love, but that George finds boring. What did I miss here? Let's see. So I always build for myself that I love, but that George finds boring. Yes. Yeah, being original is frowned upon at competitions if it doesn't
fit the narrative. Yeah. And I think, Nick, you nailed it. I think that's the point. But this is also why I also say it's important to, well, let's start with, yes, the criteria that they use may not be the criteria that you use to build your model. And at the same time, this is why I always tell people, don't get pissed off at the competition. It's their show. They can judge, they can use whatever criteria they want. This is why when people are getting all pissy about GBWC, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, it's like, it's their fucking show. They can do whatever they want. You don't like it, don't compete in it.
I think I lost points. It's my best build. I think it's above bronze.
I'll be the judge of that. I loved it. I thought it was a beautiful looking model.
I think a post I saw years ago, some people build a space station to go with their Star Trek spaceships. That thing was so Oh, huge. Around 1 point. That's big. Wow. You guys need a free thinkers category in comps. Um, the I don't have enough experience with regards to other competitions to see what it's like. Like, how does SCGMC run their show? How does SMC run their show? What criteria do they use? I do believe at SMC that whatever model you're putting on the table, including its base gets judged. But all of them are judging not on story, because that becomes very subjective, right? So if I, for example, like using the Kawhi builds thing, she would have gotten my best of show. Actually, I think she might have. She might have gotten my judge's choice award for show, because I love the story she told. But that's a subjective conversation. That's a what does George like, rather than the analytical side of how well was it built, how well was it made. And I appreciate that you have that separation. You know, there was an interesting situation at Baycon a couple of years back. Let me just read through some of these things. I'll get back to that in a second. You guys need a first thing, free thinkers category. I think even if they are supposed to judge only on build, personal opinion is done unconsciously, though. Well, you can't take the human element completely out, Tom. I'm not going to disagree, but I think the goal is to be as unbiased as possible. Is there bias? Yeah, we're humans. We're not computers. So the answer is, of course. But I know from my own, and I know that I can sometimes feel biased towards something. I try to step away from that and just realign. Critical analytical approach. There was a model on the at Baycon in the, oh God, what category? It was some kind of sci-fi category that should have won. And the reason it should have won, it was perfectly built. Perfect. There was no flaw to it. We didn't award it anything. And the reason was it was a 3D printed dumpster with no painting. It was completely, there's no flaw to it. But was it really a hand-built model? And as judges, we sat there and we're like, that is the cleanest build. But it's not really a build. There's no paint applied. If there were pieces glued on, it would have been like a couple. So we did not approach that model. You know, we did not view that as a model worthy of the competition. Let's put it that way. As perfect as it was. It is just a suggestion so people can build pink tanks and not have anyone be upset because it made George smile. Very interesting how VMX 2T comes out. I like this philosophy. For that Borders is doing good. George likes long walks and short builds. Yes. VMX 25. Got it. He does. I like long walks, short builds. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's an online competition, though, right? I'm assuming Modelers Without Borders competition is an online competition. Yeah, I think the problem we have, at least with pink tanks also, and this is something that came up, which I'm really opposed to. There are traditional modelers who think you put those in either a what if category or a sci-fi category or whatever. And it's like, why would you do that? If it's a tank that's designed, it's out of the box, or you're doing whatever it is to it that makes it stay within the realm of whatever is currently being piloted or driven today, but you paint it pink and you weather it like it's in Desert Storm,
Why would that be then a sci-fi model? My ZTQ 15 that I won a couple years ago. I won in 1/72nd scale. That's that's blue, and it's got decals from High Q that are Gundam specific. There was no question about the model and its paint scheme. Is an online comp only. Yeah, George, like other people, with short builds. He has no short builds. No. Short builds are for losers. I got to tell you though, Nick, honest to God, I really wish I could start speeding shit up. I really wish but that would mean I'd probably have to stop doing live streaming. Oof, this one's going to be fun. And maybe that's what people want. Oh God, thank God he's going to stop. He's going to stop. Guess I went a little thick here. Let's see. I didn't say he has them. I said he likes them, but yes, that's true too. All right, people, I'm going to get some breakfast. Have a great day. Mason, you too, my friend. Look forward to chatting tonight. I got to send out the invite before I forget after I'm done here. Later, Mason. See, Mason, you just need to paint some things. You just need to paint some things. I need to paint a lot of things. I agree with you. Yeah. 100%. I think the other part of it is, but the reason why I'm not painting things, Nick, and you're 100% right. It's because I get distracted very easily by a new build or a new model or something else that I want to do, another idea that comes to mind. And as you guys know, painting is not my happiest of places. I like it, but it's not the place that I like to go to. Construction is always my favoriteest place to be. Always, always, always. I may take a knife to this little block in just a second here. But you're right. I need to start getting back into. I got to make it a mandate. Part of that also means I need to start staying up late at nights and working at the bench. I can't paint and live stream at the same time. I tried it a couple times. It was not good. Guys, give me a moment here. I'm almost done here. The funny part is if I could go down a rabbit hole. See, this is the thing. So, Nick, later, Joe. Have a good one, brother. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. I need this hand to be working soon. I'm already linking up builds for the channel, but it is around the Kshatriya build. Nice. I can't wait to see that Kshatriya build. Should just set a Sunday to paint. Yeah, I agree. It's just that Sundays are also becoming a little bit more erratic and long conversation. I might have missed it there. Where I missed it there, Austin. I'm sorry. Don't know if you saw my comment above, but my current build is a Corsair navy blue scheme, but with buffalo plaid invasion stripes. I love it. Another blue Corsair. Yeah, but here's the thing. Austin, I don't know what that means. Am I to assume that that means that it is going to be a model that somebody's going to look at and say, why did you choose that? Those, because that's not standard markings. Can't either. So set a day for 5 months, maybe. Oh, that's how long my MG6. Let's hope for a faster Kshatriya build. Well, yeah, as long as the finish absolutely is to your standard, right? Whatever standard you set. Yeah, days in general are just tough, especially like what Ken was saying yesterday. It's like, because when I asked him yesterday, the day before, when I asked him, so what are you working on? He goes, nothing until the weather starts to change. I'm outside doing stuff. And for me, it's the same thing. Like yesterday was a day where originally it was planned that I would be spending time at home, probably working on some stuff here. But my wife's like, hey, why don't we meet up? Great. And today is going to be yard work. Till I get to retirement, I'm not going to have, even then, who the fuck knows what's going to happen, right? That buffalo plaid should be fun to paint. Yeah. Of course, there's never had invasion stripes, and invasion stripes definitely weren't buffalo plaid. Cool. Oh, I can't wait to hear what people say. As long as I look at it as long as the execution is spot on, who the fuck cares? And what's interesting is, and I want to just make sure I toss this out. Different chapters look at things differently. Austin got called out at ValleyCon. I did not get called out at BayCon. Sorry, I'm wrong. There were Corsairs with invasion stripes, but certainly not plaid. Got it. What is that about? Like that. Won best 172nd scale armor at BayCon. But guys, I mean, there is no armor that looks like this. None. It's not meant to. This is supposed to be I wanted to do a blue paint scheme on this. Nobody at BayCon said, well, please explain to me why you chose those colors. I think I've even put on my form. I chose these colors because I wanted to do something from a World of War tank or whatever scheme I saw. That looks awesome. Love the blue camo. Yeah, I love this thing. This is the first Meng 172nd scale tank that I did. I loved every moment of this thing, including like all the scratch built new railing and everything like that. That was fabulous. This is a great build. I loved it. D-Day invasion stripes.
Blue. Yeah, I get it. Tony, I get it. It's blue. Don't worry about it. Arctic Patrol. It could be. I don't know. I envision this thing being on another planet. Who the hell knows? In fact, this thing, when it gets fully finished, this is going to be part of a diorama, and it's going to be. I'm looking to. I've got 2 more models to make. I got this one and the Gundam, the GM cannon. I want to build a TIE fighter and a plane and include them in on a. It's not really a diorama, but it'll be 2 little vignettes that'll be bookends. I want to make bookends with 2 models on one side in a more of a red fashion, and 2 models on the other side in more of a blue fashion. Long-term plan. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, but to the point that Austin makes, I did not get dinged. So every show looks at things uniquely. Hey, Dwayne, good morning. Man, I love that model. That was a fun model to build. What's going on, Dwayne? Happy Sunday to you. I think we're going to be on for a little while longer. You know why? I'm not hearing anybody upstairs. I still have coffee. Yeah. So we run a little late. Happy Sunday. Amen to that, brother. That's what I thought I was catching the very end. Nah, I'm gonna probably stay on a little bit longer. Got really nothing to do, and this kind of does force me a little bit to focus on getting some more work done on this. You know, I'm trying to stay to a schedule on this thing. I'm not sure I'm going to hit it. You know, I'm trying to get all the construction side on this thing done and probably primed this by the end of the month, which gives me just about 2.5 weeks. And given how much fucking time PatCon is taking up, it's I'm not sure. We'll see. And then next month will be base creation and painting. And then November will be just kind of doing some wrap-up work on it, which will probably be a lot of weathering and stuff like that. I know this is Ma K, so your weathering skills got to be top-notch. I will be a PatCon. Awesome. We met at audio. Will be good to see you again. By the way, trash bag is Austin, just in case you didn't know. Just scribble on the that's right. Just do stuff on it. Well, it ain't going to be a Lincoln Wright finish, but it'll be something good. I will likely end up texturing the surface. The question is, as I'm working on these areas here, see, this is the rabbit hole. I could do weld beads. Have to go for now. Early sleep. See you tomorrow. Edwin, have a lovely rest of your evening, my friend. Thanks for popping in this morning. Always appreciated. Okay, will not be weathered. I'm just here to ruffle feathers. Ruffle feathers. Could do that. Could do a nice, bright, shiny Maquet kit. That might be a possibility. Do it like in a showroom, like a car showroom finish. Nick, bold move. I like it. Yeah, exactly. But the question is, how much do I really want to do with, like, you know, going down the rabbit hole? And it wouldn't be much. I mean, it would be about a week's worth of work, but do I have a week? I don't know. So this may not be the model, because I think I'd rather just tell the story with this one rather than give all those little details on it. It'll be bright and shiny. Hi, Glass. Lambo showroom armor. Oh, yeah. I got to tell you, that'd be great. See again, talk. So guys, real quickly, as soon as that was brought up, my first thought was that's exactly what I would do. It's like putting it into like a little vignette where you got the Maquet sitting there and you got two people, a sales guy and a potential customer kind of looking at it. Maybe it's got like a little tag hanging off it about how much it costs. You know, you got like a little background which looks like a like a car dealership or like a armor dealership. That's the storytelling that. Sorry guys, I just got something in my eye. That's the storytelling when we start talking about these little rabbit holes that start blossoming. Like for me with this cat, it's like, oh my God, it's like the stories that started just kind of flowing from this were like awesome. Slaps roofing. This thing will get so dirty. I love super glossy, brand new looking paint jobs. So I would be something I would do. Some velvet ropes. Velvet ropes. Yeah, see, that's what I'm getting at. See, stuff like that. Doesn't that make sense? And then I'm sure you'll have a purist and just saying, but a Maquet kit would never look like that. Who cares? All right. I think we've almost got this licked. It suddenly dawned on me. I might have fucked up a little bit. That's all right. I fucked up worse. I'm going to have a hard time clipping in those little pieces of shoulder plating. You're supposed to have dropped them in before you sealed all this up. Fuck that. That's okay. I know how to deal with jointing. Always, always, always. What is Maquet? Maquet is Machine and Krieger. If you ever see stuff that kind of looks like that as an example, that's Machine and Krieger. A really good example, I'm not sure if you were around at the time, but Mike O'Keefe brought in his little Machine and Krieger build. I just wanted to build something easy and quick. Crushed it because that's Mike. He did a little Machine and Krieger kit with an Iron Maiden poster in the background on a brick wall. I fucking hate Mike. This is a little something I whipped up. He's a fabulous model builder. It's not a Gundam. That is correct. Yeah. Machine and Krieger was a line created by Ko Yokoyama under the SF3D banner about 40 plus years ago. And over the years, there's been question about who has the ownership to the line. And then when he finally kind of made it his own, Machine and Krieger kind of came around and he's developed models. It's basically takes place in a future where you have these two sides kind of battling it out in these armor that look like they're literally strapped on tanks. Hellcat is going to have to have a panel open to see the inside, though the panels aren't very accurate. That's okay. It is not a Gundam. That is correct. Is it a specific character or is it like a type of mech? It's mech and armor per se. Yeah. You do a little like a Google search on Machine and Krieger, and you can get the whole story.
It's very much got like a lore, like a maybe not as evolved, but kind of like a Warhammer type of a lore. Two sides in the year 3000 that are just kind of going to town on each other. In these, and it's very World War II based in that regard. And the big take on Maschinen Krieger is that it's designed to be mecha that looks like it's worn. So a lot of armor guys are really into it because it's weathered in the same kind of fashion. Mine is not going to be heavily weathered. It will be weathered. All right. I'm still not sure I got this one nailed down yet. Not going to say it's my favorite genre. I do like it. There are models that I prefer. This one, I did not enjoy this build. This has not been one of the better ones. The Hasegawa ones that I've built so far have been pretty good. This one by Wave, not so much. It's a good backstory. Paint on plastic. IG does nothing but Make. Yeah, he's definitely migrated. But then again, so Paint on Plastic is a guy by the name of Lincoln Wright, Australian. He lived in Japan, and he lived in Japan for what, 20 plus years, and he weaseled his way. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. He weaseled his way into becoming a big to working with Ko Yokoyama and his team. Learned the language, learned the culture, just indoctrinated himself, and is probably the foremost expert in the category as an English speaker. Okay, it makes me think of the armored suits from the animated Matrix beginning. Human robot wars, yes, but it goes way earlier than that. Maschinen Krieger's been around for over 40 years. Nitto, who released the original SF 3D kits. I mean, did I pick one up? No, I didn't, because it's not, again, Make is not necessarily my thing, but the Nitto kits are challenging because they're very old, and by a smaller company, they were kind of iffy. However, they fetch some pretty interesting price tags. Okay. I may end up having to do something in there. That might be where I put the joysticks. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to plate the inside of that. Once we get through the finished part of this, I'm going to start doing some getting the cat placed in there and getting the joysticks in there. Yeah. Anyway, cool lore. And the models are I mean, if you're into it, the models are really, really funky. All right, time to work on hand number 2. I may not take this one apart if I can avoid it. This one doesn't seem to be nearly as problematic as the other one was. The only question I have is this is the left hand. I've been debating on how to get this hand to kind of sit on its hip, kind of like, like this. I want to rewatch Animatrix.
Cool.
I don't think I've ever saw it. Never really had much care. Again, it's one of those things I lost complete interest in the franchise after the second film. It's like the second film sucked. I think I watched the third film. I'm like, oh my God, this really sucked. And it's like, yeah, I'm not interested anymore. I'm done. I don't even remember if I finished watching the third film. It was so bad. And then the whatever the fourth film was, never watched that. Again, just bored. Huh. Well, that's nice and clean, thankfully. Now, why the fuck? This is part of the problem with these hands. They're incredibly flaky for putting together. I really didn't want to take this thing apart, but it's like I'm looking at how this thing is all coming together, and it's like, I think you're going to have to. It's just some very interesting choice of how the engineering on the hands really not all that great. These are a bunch of short stories in different animation styles. That's the only thing Matrix. I really enjoyed it later. And it was released after the first film. Yeah. The first film was great. I love the first film. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Let's put it that way. All right. So this. Once again, the engineering on these hands is just terrible. You know, if you're going to give the complexity of an assembly, which I respect, like, hey, we want to give you, your money's worth in the build, right? I get that. Totally understand that. You can at least not make somebody have to fight their way to get it done because you took shortcuts. Maybe I'm asking too much of model makers. I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm asking too much. What time is it? Okay. I'm going to go to 8:30. I think we'll call it at 8:30. So anybody got anything special planned for today? Someone is spoiled by Bandai kits or Tamiya, or even some of those Meng kits. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And you're 100% right, Nick. 100% right. Not everybody's going to be able to build to that level of fit and finish. But kind of like the example of the Flyhawk and the Vespid tanks versus the Meng tanks, the details on the other ones are probably a little bit greater, and they include a lot more photo etch and shit like that. But it's like, but if you're making it incredibly difficult to assemble, then wouldn't it be easier just to kind of simplify things a bit? I'll be watching Plastic Lounge around. Nice.
Just watching, just plastic and lounging around. Just watching it plastic. Let me get the bench today after I clean all the fishing gear. Nice. How long does that take? Wood splitting, sharpening, Mason's knives. Oh, hold it. Okay, kids are up. Sounds like it's time for Dwayne to bail. Dwayne, have a good one, brother. So hold it. Splitting wood. That sounds like fun. I'd like to get into that at some point. I guess I need to get some wood. But hold it. You sharpen knives? Tell me more. Tell me more. Look, I've migrated to the older kits. I have a stack of, but I really have no interest in it. Yeah, I'm sort of in the same way right now, Nick. The only Gundams I really want to finish are all the old MSVs. Those are the only ones that are like, I want to work on that stuff. Most of the newer stuff just snap together, bag, and probably never going to see again. Yep, by hand. Whetstone and diamond stones. Really by hand. It's going to take an hour or two. Oof, wow. Commitment to something you love. I love it. That's great, man. Really? I've got some knives I might need some sharpening too. Maybe we can talk. Maybe we can talk a little bit at some point when we meet next time. That's the only way, Austin. Really? All of them sharpened by hand? No shit. Why is it the only way? No, I'm ignorant about it. I don't know. I'm an ignoramus. And once again, this is why I absolutely love God hand sponges. Take that off, and I now have a nice, clean, sharp edge to sand from. Love it. I don't know. Machine? I'd love to. Just let me know. No, it's not the only way. He's saying that's the only way you should do it. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah. It's like that because I'm sure that you can, like, if I brought him, like, we've got a bunch of knives, I can bring them back to Williams Sonoma and they'll sharpen them. Whatever the cost is, it doesn't matter. But the point is, I don't know. I didn't realize, would they sharpen them by hand or are they going to throw them through a machine? I have no idea. Do it by hand, really? Interesting. Never would have guessed. The stuff you learn. See, this is why life is so cool. You learn something every day. As long as I'm learning something every day, I'm doing good. Okay, got that. Got that. That was well done. Putting the seam on the edge. That's good. You're done with grinders, yeah. Here we go. I missed a few. Sorry, guys. I have to prepare for work. Have a nice day.
Seb, have a great day, my friend. Thank you for being here this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day.
What's the best edge is my guess. If you take away the hard store that sharpens in places like that, they use grinders. Make knives from time to time. Hand sharpening feels right. I have one of those fancy sharpeners, and it's a fantastic tool, but not my preference. Do you feel like you get a sharper blade using a hand sharpener? As when you buy them new or done with grinders. That would make sense. I feel like hand sharpening yields much better quality. Yep, I use the tool and it's really messed up because it removes materials. So yeah, that makes sense too. Thanks. Of course, Seb. Of course. Time's it. Yeah, I got about 6 minutes. I'm going to bail too. So get some of this stuff done. The stuff you learn. Okay, those two are done. We can talk in depth about it later. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I appreciate that. Yes, definitely. Educate me, please. Yeah, Nick makes knives. One of our neighbors, a couple houses down here, yeah, I guess that's what he does too. He's a professional knife maker. So interesting that that there are so many wild careers out there that you think about it for a second. You're like, never thought there would be a career for that, but why wouldn't I think that there would be a career for that? No. Hey, Clint. Good morning. What's going on, brother? No, the sharpness doesn't change from the tool versus once unless you do it wrong. I think a grinder makes the worst sharpness. It's sharp, but not. Interesting. I tried to make money at it, but for now, I just give them to people. Really? Morning, George. Morning, everyone. Morning, Clint. It's a good word, brother. How was the event yesterday? All right, let's get into the phalanges and clear them out. Of course. As soon as I pull out the chisel, that's when I feel like I gotta sneeze. Excuse me.
I'm looking forward to hearing how it went. How did it go? How did it go? Inquiring minds want to know. Genuinely cannot tell. Genuinely. It was great. Solid turnout. A lot of people. Brought stuff to display. And there were a bunch of kids there who were excited and happy to be there. That's great. Wow. So this is like a display kind of show. And this is at one of the Bandai stores. Is that correct? I got to tell you, that's great. Very proud of all the boys who interact with everyone during the. They did really good, and that made me a happy old man. Happy old man! You're just sitting back, just proud of them youngsters. Oh, this is a build event at a local gaming spot. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. That's what it's about. You know, how do you expose people to a hobby? You got to be where you got to be out there. Can't be in your basement. A great day, George. Everyone, I'm going to take some meds and relax a bit. See you later. All right, take it easy, Tony. Hope you feel better, brother. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm about to bail here too. Just going to get this thing kind of finished off here. I was hoping to get all these fingers done, but it's not going to happen. It's just hideous. Hideous, I tell you. Hideous. Okay. All right. So with that, just gonna leave it all like that. We're gonna come back to that tomorrow. Or maybe I'll do work later. It depends on how the rest of this day goes. I do need to start working on this model. To Nick's point, you know, it's like airbrushing on a Sunday kind of thing. Just gonna have to put a couple more hours into it. But let's see what happens with all the other stuff that's going on. Coolest moment was when a little girl came up to me and I asked if she was having fun. She said, heck yes. And she got her friend into Gundam too. That's what it was all about to me. The kids. Yeah, it's always about the kids. 100%. 100%. That's your next generation right there, right? It's your next generation. Very happy for you guys. Extremely happy. Later, Nick. All right, guys. Time for me to roll. Stay safe and stay sane, everybody. Thanks for being on this morning. I do appreciate it. Good conversations all around. Fun times. Um, Continue this. Continue to go out there and have good dialogue with people. Do good with people. Show them kindness, respect. Engage with them. Once you start engaging with people, it's kind of hard to vilify people. Get to know people. So go out there and do good, brightening the world as much as you can. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, same time, same channel. Enjoy. Love you all. Peace.